story when two people walking along the beach and all the sand dollars are washed up on shore, and the going guy keeps picking up the sand dollars and throwing them back in the ocean. He said, "Look how many there are. You can't make a difference." He said, "To the one I just threw back, I made a difference." Right? Well, welcome to trial run on hit and miss. Did you all get a copy of the outline today? Some people walk past it, they know they can grab it. Try something different I haven't done for yet in all these years of doing seminars. So today, whether you know it or not, you're going to help me write a book or a series of books. The information we have today would be more than one book worth, but I have a lot more topics. So we'll be going over through trying to cover each of those as if it was a chapter in the book. When I sat down to try to write a book, it doesn't work that well for me. So when I speak, it just flows, and there's a bigger way we can record it and then get it put in the book. Let's see. For posterity purposes and for present day, we have a lot of issues that are pressing on us health-wise, so we'll cover it. My name is Dr. Paul Klebs. I'm a ND, Naturopathic Doctor, which is all if you look through the history of mankind, Naturopathic doctors always have been here. There's always been somebody following the natural course, or God's program, which would be natural. What we have today in America is a lot of opposing voices. A lot of them don't seem to carry the integrity enough to get your body well. So I say ND means no drugs, so today we'll be teaching you how to get away from your drugs. Of course, that causes a challenge because the people that are making a living off of the drugs will be disappointed to find out that there's something natural like dandelions or thistle or burdock or even some of your garden weeds and garden crops that could reverse disease and disaster a lot less expensive and without this harmful side effects. I tease that MD means more drugs. I tease it also RN means to resist natural or become real necessary once they become enlightened. And I've got a new one for you. AMA should mean for you after today, avoid a medical advice. AMA, avoid medical advice. How many of you have heard someone say, "I wish I hadn't gone to the doctor," or "I don't go to doctors because everybody that does ends up getting ill or body parts missing or early funeral?" And they say, "Well, I stay away from doctors." Well, I say, doctors mean what? What does doctor mean? Doctor means teacher. The word doctor means to teach. To teach what? Well, if you're a doctor of music, you teach music, so somebody can play their own recital. If you're a doctor of science, you teach science, so people can do their own experiments. Doctor of medicine, what do they teach? They don't even really want you asking questions about drugs you can't pronounce and words you don't understand. They literally go into a different language. They share that language between the pharmacist, the nurse, the transcriptionist, a couple others. But they make up a funny language. Have you ever noticed? They give it a funny name for even something as simple as a headache. When your body's not happy, they use a big word called homeostasis. They make it so that you have to go to school, college, get degrees, so that you can even have conversations about your own health. And if you ask questions too much with your MD, more drug doctor, what do they say? Who's the doctor here? So today we're going to try to take you from ignorance, which means, like I say, ignore your health and it'll go away. Take you from ignorance into reason. So you have an opportunity, or at least feel like you have the permission to ask questions that others would say that you're a little bit strange for even asking. There's a thing called common sense. Does anybody have a concept of common sense would be? I had a young kid, and I think one time you have to ask me how I'm gonna share it with you. I tried my best to explain it to you. Later I got a better answer for myself. Common sense would be something that's common with man. It holds a truth. It holds a common thread that matches up with the created being, which would be the human being. So common sense would be God sense. But today we've been so lied to, so steady for so long, we feel that we don't know if we can ask any questions. I had a couple 2 years ago. She was wanting to get past her fibromyalgia, which is a big word to try to understand that she got a pain. He got very angry. And I picked up on the frequency that he didn't want to be there. You know, body language sometimes share things. And finally I said, what do you do for a living? I changed the subject from me trying to help his wife to him. Well, I work with computers. I said, how many years have you been with computers? 3 years. I said, so if I need my computer fixed, I come get an expert like you, right? And he knew I was up to something. I said, how is it you bring your wife to see me? I've been at this my whole life. I'm third generation digging into and trying to find out how to fix the human computer. And you know more than me because you see 30,000 commercials a year. How did you get so smart? Give me that pill so I can be as smart as you about natural health. And then I told him, I can't treat her. I can't treat your wife. She will burst into tears. I pretty much asked him to leave. Later, she snuck back with me on a fishing trip so we could work with her fibromyalgia. We have a tool device to help get rid of the tapeworm. Every case I've ever had of severe fibromyalgia, they had severe tapeworm activity. So looking at it from that standpoint, I'm trying to help you to get back to where it's okay to ask questions and to get permission to know the truth. Here's a phrase I coined recently, because in every area of my life it seems like if it's the truth, it has to wait its turn. It has to be gentle. For instance, if I pick up, say, a Crusader newspaper, I have one here. This is October, November 2005. Special fluoride alert. Fluoride industry busted. Talks about toxic waste dumps and things like that. But I can pick up this newspaper and it's already a few years old and it feeds me fresh information every time I pick it up. There's a book that's over 2,000 years old that puts out fresh information every time you pick it up. Every year, the basic instructions before leaving Earth. It's a handbook for a human being. Basic instruction before leaving Earth. B-I-B-L-E. Bible. Basic instruction before leaving Earth. Before leaving Earth. Before leaving Earth. Before leaving Earth. I can change that. A lot of different innuendos there. Now, if I pick up today's newspaper, it hits the door. I probably already heard from somebody that's watching the EIR, electronic income reducer, called the TV. I've already know some of what's on that paper, and it's already old trash. I don't even need it. It's worthless stuff. It's like, I was asked one time by a major newspaper, Mr. Klebs, would you like a copy of the 8 column Times for a week? And I said, no. Well, why not? I said, I don't have a bird. What do you mean? The only use I can think of for your newspaper is use it for the bottom of a bird cage. So we spend how much of our day is spent reading worthless, already old trivia, or absolute lies and garbage on the TV to get it. So you're going to watch the nightly news, make you feel bad, change your pH to acid, and then you get all these solutions of somebody bouncing through some kind of happy pill, some kind of drug, some kind of prescription, ask your doctor if you need it, because he don't have a clue. Then we have to sit there and work together, ask your doctor. Well, this guy, for some reason, has been spending so much of his life being normal, I couldn't feed his wife. Because he had seen over 30,000 commercials in a given year telling him to go ask his doctor. So he's smarter than me, right? Well, common sense, what we're going to be covering today is common sense. Matches up with the body, matches up with the truth. Recently I coined this phrase, I'll get back to it. Death is in rhyme when the truth is a crime. We've got it all around us. The music, the commercials, everything about American lifestyle right now has death involved in it. If you get it from the normal media. The truth is the crime. People who are, there's never been a time that the truth was popular. Look in the basic, the Bible talks about what happened to Elijah and some of the people who were trying to bring the truth ahead of time. They were not friendly with the truth then, and human beings don't like change. They don't like anything that they don't think is normal. So, when a medical doctor gets in trouble for something unorthodox, ever hear that? Not practicing unorthodox medicine, in other words, unauthorized, out of the box. They got out of a control arena and did something that wasn't authorized, like using nutrition. I met a medical doctor, spent 3 years in prison for sending nutritional supplements through the mail from Valentine, Nebraska. He was in prison for 3 years just because he sent nutrition in the mail. That was unorthodox. So I have this little thing I carry with me. I like this on my phone. There's something. Get out of the box. I think almost every single day, my purpose on planet Earth is to teach somebody how to get out of the box. And sometimes if there's no humans around for a while, I find one and I can almost become obnoxious. I told one neighbor one time, I said, don't you see all of these people that come to our clinic for license plates from all over the United States, and you know some of them from Canada and Germany and South Africa. Because he used to help with them when they showed up in town. I told him, they come in for cancer. You don't have to die of cancer. You know what he just said to me? I'm going to do it my way, even if you prove me wrong. 9 months later, he's not anywhere near to prove anybody anything. He's in the casket. So that's stubborn. Of course, I can tell you the nationality that causes that. I have part of it, which is why I challenge him. We both have some German blood in us, and we're pretty proud of our stubborn heritage. But you got to be careful that your stubbornness doesn't run you into an early grave and make you suffer before you get there. And obviously, some of you have some other blood in you, or you wouldn't be here today, right? Stubborn German wouldn't be here. They're just German, but they're good thing they mix up a little bit. I pick on myself. Okay. A few weeks ago, I tried this out for size, so I'm going to do this with you and see what you think of this. If I show up with a camouflage hat, put on the vest, does that make me a hunter? Well, I guess some head and shaking no means that's parasites since I was 18 years old. So I'm not a hunter, but I needed the best one day. It was cold, and somebody gave me the hat. So now I can make everybody think when I walk around, he's a hunter. I know where the pheasants are, right? Now I got another thing in the bag. Fits my head. I put on a helmet for welding. Does that make me a welder? I love to weld, but unless somebody calls me a welder, I don't consider myself a welder. If I have a cowboy hat, does that mean I have a horse? No, he says no. I think it's already, he knows. So you could have a cowboy hat and still wish you had a horse, right? Well, does it make me a cowboy? No. Oh, I know, it makes me an auctioneer. $75 now, 80 would go, 80 bid a month, 5 now, 90. 90 over there, 90 sold, $85 over there. Does it make me an auctioneer? No. I like it. Hey, this is working. If I put on a stethoscope, does that make me a doctor? Oh, maybe it makes me an here, I'll just do it the way I planned. Everybody agree this doesn't make you a doctor? How many times do you get something in the mail, they're sitting in a white coat, and they have a stethoscope on? So let's see, let's take one step further. So if I put a wig on, does that make me a woman? No, it makes me a rock star. So if I put on the stethoscope, maybe I'm an actor. That's what somebody said last seminar when I put this on. Did it make you a doctor? And they said, no, it makes you an actor. We've learned to worship. Actually, this is very subliminal mind control. When they put this around their neck, they're trying to tell you that they've got some kind of a degree, and you're supposed to bow down and worship them. Now, you get all these periodicals in the mail, and these things mail. I got a hunch you'll be noticing how many times they've got somebody in a white coat with a stethoscope, making a nice, pretty picture to make you think that they've got a degree that gives them some kind of authority to control your life. In the 1828 Webster's Dictionary, there's two definitions of the word pharmaceutical. First definition, to practice witchcraft. Second definition, sorcery. Is your steal, kill, and destroy, or is it life more abundant? Okay? I'll put the stethoscope away. Next time you see one of these, I hope it's not on me. Well, maybe we should put that differently. Next time you see a stethoscope, let's just hope it's on its commercial, not somebody walking down the hall. That means you're in harm's way. I'm going to read it so I don't mess it up. I get these other thoughts every so often, and I'm trying to put them down so that they'll lose them. How many of you know that a headache is not a Tylenol deficiency? Yeah. Did you know that cancer is not a therapy deficiency? Which chemical would you use? I'd like to ask the doctor, how do you know which cancer needs which chemical? Which chemotherapy deficiency do they have? Why aren't we taking it every day to make sure we don't get cancer? Okay, here it is. So this is cold, and you think I don't like doctors, but there are some nerves that are worth hanging out with. I'll just put it the way I wrote it. Doctor today strikes death on its way. Chemo a day makes the body to pay. I have never seen anybody ever benefit from chemical therapy. So I'm going to lead myself right into part of what is on the list of what we're going to cover. I'm going to just skip to chapter it's actually in more than once. So chapter 5, and we'll come back to it. Get ready for this. Nothing that has its foundation in petroleum is compatible with the human body. I don't care if it's sunblocker, I don't care if it's chemical therapy, I don't care if it's preservative for food, I don't care if it's pesticide or herbicide. If it's made from petroleum, it does not fit in the human's body. We'll be covering that quite a bit today. Okay, chapter number 1. Number 1 cause for dis-ease. And I like to separate that word dis-ease because the word disease, everybody that's watching the idiot box or the EIR is apt to feel that disease means it's terminal, it's something that can't be helped, it's something you inherited, it's just incurable. It's all it is it's a word, dis-ease. The body's not at ease. It's not a complicated situation. There are no incurable diseases. There's some incurable people. You might have some relatives that are pretty incurable. I practice my words on relatives, so when I get somebody that's ready, then they'll listen. Wayne Dyer says, God gives you friends to apologize for your relatives. But there's some good relatives too. Okay, the number 1 cause for dis-ease is dehydration. How much does it cost you to get a drink of water? It could be free. And then the question is, what kind of water? And how much have we perverted the water? So have we perverted it so much that we don't like the taste of it, so now we drink something that's full of sugar or aspartame? And to confuse drinking tea and coffee and pop and juice with drinking water, we never get enough water. The stuff that's free is healthier than the stuff that costs. Sometimes when we travel, we take a big jug of water with us, and when we run out of water, of our well water, we start thinking about heading home. Because bottled water is a synthetic, plastic, petroleum-based container, leaches so much estrogen that it can cause cancers of all sorts just because you're trying to get healthy water. And most bottled water is city water that's been filtered, and has been filtered so poorly that it hardly tastes any better than tap water. Of course, that's the water that's been used, tap water you use along with your soda pop. To make sure that you don't taste it, they put in 9 teaspoons of sugar in an average can of pop. So, now let me tell you a couple of the ways that you can tell that you've been dehydrated. Has anybody ever gotten in the shower and said, oh my goodness, all of a sudden the body says it's time to, and you didn't have to go take a tinkle before that? Or have you gone and washed your hands, and you just come in to wash your hands, all of a sudden you got an urgency, you can't get your hands dried fast enough before you got to go tinkle? Am I the only one like that? Maybe I'm speaking to aliens. Have you ever heard water running, or even one guy we heard about yesterday, just hearing the fuel go into the tank of his tractor makes him have to go take a tinkle. What triggers that? Dehydration. Now let me explain why you can tell that when you have to go in a hurry, you're dehydrated. If you're out every day, if you're out all day long in a real hot sun, sweating, and then you think about it by nighttime, you know what, I didn't have to pee one time. Oh, the body recycled the pee through their sweat to keep you cool. The order of priority to keep the body healthy was to save your urine because it may not get enough to keep the sweat process working. When the body feels, hears, or you even see water, you just trigger to the mechanism of your bladder, and now it can evacuate that toxic poison, and it gives you an urgency. Maybe I should just hold up the deal. Where's my incontinence hotline one? Here, Logan. Have you got the incontinence one? Just hand up, I'm going to give you funnies today so you remember the seminar, and you might even get permission to put these in a book. Make sure each family gets one, even if they're short. When you see two people that kind of look like they know each other, husband and wife, they probably do one another. They're sisters. I love a little humor to put in with this because it's just, when I call the incontinence hotline, they put me on hold. When you have a water urgency, the last thing you want to, if you're dehydrated, the last thing you can stand is to be put on hold. Is this covering anything? Does anybody have the urgency? You've got to go pee now because you put your hands in the water? By the time your body gives you the signal that you're thirsty, and you're 40 years old, you're 60 ounces short already. Any wonder we get so wrinkled? Any wonder the kidneys are in trouble? Any wonder we have poor digestion? Which leads me to chapter 2. But dehydration is the biggest source of disease. Now, I just had a call on the way over here this morning. Someone that literally is dying. And I said to the daughter, you've got to get him to drink water. Well, my body won't take water. He's so dehydrated. I said, if you took him in, first thing they'd do, they'd hook him up and they'd give him electrolytes to try to get his water level back up because he's in pain. One of the number one things to reverse pain, this is what I told him this morning, because he's in pain, is you've got to get water. Now think about this. Do you know what happens to the body when the cells don't get hydrated? They become feverish. And they start to get heated and acid. And acid is pain, pain is acid. So if you're going to try to clean up any kind of pain in the body, and you don't first introduce your body to a lot more water, what's left for you? Something that's more dangerous than the pain that's being signaled. So that would be a pain killer. No, you don't kill the pain. You introduce a more life-threatening situation to the body so it can't tell you with the little energy it has left that you hurt. That's basically Western medicine in a nutshell. You give them a diversion. They've got a sliver, you stomp on, put a nail through their foot. They don't notice the sliver. If you've been to my seminar, you've heard this theory. When you climb a tree, deer hunt, the first day of season, before sunrise, you climb it up, and you get a sliver on the finger. You're sitting up there trying to dig out that sliver on the trigger finger. I think I got a tweezer in the glove box and a pickup. So you hurry back down out of your tree stand, you're climbing down, you're hurrying across the pasture, you don't notice the board in the dusk, the morning dawn. Board with the nail sticking up, you step on it, it goes through your shoe, there's blood coming in your shoes, you go in a circle saying, Chucky darn, Chucky darn, Chucky darn, oh, Chucky darn. Oh, there's the pickup. I was going to the pickup for some reason. You hobble over to the pickup, you crawl through the fence, and you forgot to take the safety off the gun, and you shoot the toe off on the other foot. Now, when you step on the nail, you forgot the sliver. When you shoot the toe off the other foot, you forgot the nail. Okay, so you got a headache, you got a sliver. Usually most headaches are because you're dehydrated. You wake up with a headache, you're dehydrated. You didn't drink enough before bed. So you've got a sliver and you've got a headache. So let's step on a nail. It's called Tylenol. You just introduce a life-threatening thing to the liver. It doesn't have energy left to tell you that you got a headache. Painkiller? No, it's a liver killer. The number one cause for hepatitis C, according to Western medicine, not us in the natural world, Western medicine says the number one cause for hepatitis C is Tylenol. I suggest all of your liver disorders, including mono and the other hepatitis, are part of that same picture. Somebody's French fries are done. I remember that song. That we might have a phone that's here. Came with it. I still haven't figured out change. I have to get help just to change it. Okay, if Tylenol would be like stepping on a nail, shooting the toe off the other foot would be called ibuprofen. Ever hear of it? Do you know the PDR? That's a big fat book that can be used to hold the door open or press flowers. You see it in the doctor's office. Physician's desk reference, and in there, if you look up ibuprofen, it says never administered for more than a week can cause kidney failure. How'd you like to be on dialysis? Many of you drive over 40, 50 miles a day to get here. If you're on dialysis, you have to plan your day, your life around how soon can you get back to the machine. Of course, now they've got these drive-through dialysis centers popping up all over the world. So you can go from one dialysis day to the next dialysis day as you travel. Big business. We've got somebody in Michigan that we've helped them get to where they could get off the dialysis. She had to be through, how many months? 9 months she had to leave. And they told her not to drink water because then more work for the dialysis machine. So we got a product called ASEA. It's a microhydrant, and she got herself in a condition where she could pee again, and she's feeling better, and then she wanted to have them cut down the days so she didn't have to go in so often. Oh, we can't do that. Well, I was trying to tell them that they don't need to be on the machine the rest of their life anyway. And I found out how come she can't get off the machine. She hooks up 3 times a week. Now she can go over the weekend, but during the week it has to be every other day. 3 times a week. Yeah, every other day. You know why she can't get off? They're getting over $7,000 a hookup. That's $21,000 a week. That's almost $100,000 a month. That's why she can't get off dialysis. She's a young woman. The number one cause for dis-ease, you can count it, it'll be not enough water. Of course, you spend some research and find out where the best water is. In my seminars, I cover a whole page on that. I'll probably put it in the book. My first choice is well water. My last choice is tap water. And in between is distilled, RO. But I trust people I don't even know that could care less about except the profit. And sometimes when we travel, we will buy a bottle of water if we run out, and it tastes like crud. Real water has a taste that once you taste it, you never lose track of it. When you get back to it, you find that's good water. I live in South Dakota because of drinking water that I found in a little town. I moved there for the water. I did not move because of relatives or any other job opportunities. I moved there because I finally found a place on planet Earth that has a good water that I could get out of my well. I found a place in Costa Rica, but it's too expensive to move there. They Chapter 2, body disorder. This disorder sometimes is caused by not enough water. It's poor digestion. When you have poor digestion, start with water, and maybe you can help catch up. So the ways to reverse poor digestion, dill pickle juice. They laugh at me where I live, because they ask me what to do for something. I say, well, start with dill pickle juice. And a few have actually tried. They bug me enough that I've actually got 2 or 3 of them that tried it, and they're helping brag about dill pickle juice. Why do I tell them? They're not going to spend money on nutrition, but they might drink the juice before they throw the jar away. Sure enough, it's going to work. Why dill pickle juice? It has salt, which is another part of why we have poor digestion in America. We're taking in the wrong salt or no salt. You have to have salt to have good digestion. Your pH of your blood can't hold itself steady without salt. And it has dill, or it doesn't have dill. I think it's false advertising. Almost all the dill pickle juice that you get in the machine in the grocery store has no dill. And it's not hard to recognize dill. If it doesn't have some of that in there, it's not dill pickle juice. If it does have dill in there, part of the surface tension will be lowered because of the dill. We use dill to reverse depression, anxiety. It's a tremendous herb, and we'll probably make a tincture of dill later today. What else is in dill pickle juice? Well, hopefully there's some garlic, maybe some other seasoning, and maybe some pickles. The question I had posed to me this morning, well, why shouldn't I give my dad apple cider vinegar? I said, dill pickle, he can't even handle water. You better give him something a little more gentle than dill pickle, than apple cider vinegar. Give him dill pickle juice. So I had to explain to her why the dill pickle juice. It's much more compatible. Doesn't bite the tongue or make it. And if you're strong enough to handle apple cider vinegar, go ahead. But in the meantime, find dill pickle juice. Dill pickle juice, for some reason, reverses fever. It reverses so fast. I've had kids of my own that were running fever for days. And I tried to get it to run for days. I just don't want them back in public school in a hurry just because somebody's getting paid $2,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 a year, and every day means so many dollars they miss. They call what it's a kid. You want a fever to run 2-3 days, 2 at least. Don't stop it. Don't introduce nail through the foot, Tylenol. Don't give them some kind of painkiller. Don't give them medication, because a fever is such a good thing. It'll help you so you don't have dis-ease later in life. I got in his 80s, Red Wing, Minnesota. And his wife was concerned because he'd been running a fever for a couple of days, and now it's getting hotter. I'm afraid he's going to get injured. I said, what's hotter? She said, it's about 103. I said, how long? She said, don't live about that way for 4 or 5 hours. And it was in the morning. And so I knew that maybe he was going to rise, because nighttime your fever goes higher. I said, go get him some dill pickle juice. How much? A couple ounces. Let him sip it. She called back within just 20-30 minutes, said the fever was down to 101. I said, you can expect it to go lower. I've had it drop so fast, if you let the fever run, I've had it drop so fast that by the time they drink it and I go get the thermometer down to 98. If it's a baby, you rub it on the bottom of the right foot. Why does it work? We could spend trying a whole seminar on why it works. Just try it, you'll see, you can find out. But the body disorder, chapter number 2, will be poor digestion. Hydrochloric acid is my second choice to bring back the body to normal. The digestion. So I'm going to cover that on a chart. this is such basic information that if we close up after this session, you took the fact about chapter 1 with water, chapter 2 with digestion, you could be like a miracle worker in your community, in your family. First thing you learn to do, you're taking your food from huge chunks down to microscopic, so small that you can't even see it if it's properly processed. So we're breaking big boulders down to microscope size. The first thing you do, you help the body's digestion by chewing the food instead of swallowing big pieces. Hydrochloric acid is second. Would you bring me hydrochloric? Logan, or soda? I learned about this in 1968 from a pharmacist. He told me if America ever finds out about this product, there'll be very few hospitals needed. Boy, was he ever right. Have they found out? Are they building any hospitals in this area? All across Minnesota and South Dakota where we live, new hospitals, new clinics. Send your daughters to school to be nurses and doctors. Get more doctors. We need more doctors. What does that tell you? Somebody's failing to tell them how to be healthy. These first 2 chapters is enough. You can just go make a huge dent on the population of how many patients are dying away in hospitals and clinics and nursing homes. Hydrochloric acid is my number 2 thing on this list. I've used this since 1968. It's kept me being a DER. It's kept me from quitting because it works. But I have acid indigestion, I have GERD, my esophagus burns. Yes, the acid that's burning your esophagus is not hydrochloric acid because that's the bully of the block. The bully of the block to overpower all these other acids. This next thing we do, Logan, could you bring me some enzymes? We'll keep you busy. Enzymes. Now, where would we get enzymes? From raw food. But if we cook it or pervert it like we do, how are we supposed to get the food to break down? We need to supplement enzymes. Of all the stuff, it took me a long time to figure out how do I get enzymes, where do I get them, and what am I looking for to fill that need? The more you study raw food, the more you realize we're a long ways from healthy. Raw food is something that will break itself down if you leave it set on the counter. So let's do an example of what enzymes are like. You know what we call green beans in a can? They're cooked and recooked and blanched and they put in a container. Our nickname for green beans in a can is a former rubberized cadaver of a green bean. It can lay on the top of the counter open to the air for probably more than a week and it still doesn't smell. So there's a clue here. The quicker you smell something, the more enzymes it has. The quicker it molds or rots. I have a friend in 14 years ago bought a Big Mac or hamburger from McDonald's. It's been on the shelf ever since. There's no food value there. It's so dead that it wouldn't rot. There's no mold. It wouldn't break down. It looks like the day he bought it. Showed it to me about a month ago. It's in the styrofoam package. He's a vegetarian. He doesn't eat McDonald's. But it just shows you that there's no enzymes. There's no life. It's dead. Tim, that door is not locked out there, is it? I saw somebody walk up and they have them in. Okay. So the more raw it is, the better, easier it is for the body to break down. If we don't have that, then we supplement with enzymes. Okay, Logan, the next one. This one's got FOS in it, acidophilus, bifidophilus, phosphorophilus, delta-alvarez. Yeah, thank you. This is Logan. He's my right-hand man. that has friendly bacteria. And here's what you write down. Friendly bacteria, and then write down FOS. Anybody grow cattle in here? This bottle is enough to save the lives of 30 calves. 45 calves, sorry, 45 calves. Okay, calves this year are at least $100 a piece, right? This bottle is worth over $4,500 if you're raising calves. Because if they get scours, you must inject into their throat friendly bacteria, FOS, with FOS. FOS stands for fructooligosaccharides. Don't bother writing it down. Let me just put it to you this way. If you do this, they'll get stool. In other words, the body doesn't run out like a faucet. They become full of shizit, which is what you have to have if you're going to have a healthy calf, or a healthy human, or a healthy hog, or a healthy anything. You have to have friendly bacteria to make a good stool. So let's make sure we remember FOS. When you find a friendly bacteria with FOS, that's what you want to get. You do not want to buy just friendly bacteria, because FOS is a fiber. It's a fiber for the friendly bacteria to multiply. If the friendly bacteria do not have fiber, they can't multiply, and you will not have a stool. You'll have the runs. If now comes to digestion, on the digestion page, if anything here is missing, including if you don't take time to chew your food, if anything here is missing, you're going to have some negative results. So you now know more about how to get the body well than most DERs. Find out which piece is missing to get back on track. If you've got bloating, if you've got flatulence, if you've got, sometimes flatulence is out there, it's not bad, but bloating, burping, and acid reflux. And people who don't take care of this problem will get it, some of them will get a cancer that is very difficult to reverse. Ever know anybody lost their life to esophageal cancer? I have no successes yet. The best I was able to do is one guy, we extended his life, we figured about 5 years. But when the esophagus gets burned out so bad from acid reflux, because you don't know this page right here. Okay. We helped him for about 5 years and we still lost him. He's still a young man with that. So if you don't understand hydrochloric acid, start with no pickle juice, then give some hydrochloric acid, then some enzyme, friendly bacteria, and fiber. Keep that working. So these first 2 chapters I've already covered really could be the whole seminar. I'll go on because you guys came and I prepared, but those first 2 chapters, if people will read those 2 chapters, drink more water and get the digestion working, most of the dis-ease disappears. Okay. Chapter number 3. This one will be quick. Take message to heart. That's the title of taking vitamin C. Of course, iron helps also, but vitamin C is one of those lost arts, one of those basic things that cost next to nothing. One of the things about the natural path you'll find, the natural path is the inexpensive path. We're working with a guy right now that spent 10 minutes arguing with his doctor that didn't want to take chemo, and he got a bill for $330 for the argument. Do you know how much nutritional supplements $330 buys on that back table? Enough to last a month's worth? And then some. Instead of just wasting it on an argument because he didn't want to take chemo. He's winning because he's doing nutrition. Vitamin C should be taken up to 5,000 to 10,000 milligrams a day. Logan, can you find me an emergency packet for the box? I think it's in the back room. Microscope room. So find some good source of vitamin C. There's a lot of argument which is the best. Do a little research on it. Here's what has been discovered recently. Vitamin C, even if you have a stent because you had an implant or bypass, keeps the stents from plugging up. What people are not telling you when they go down for the bypass surgery, they have to get a stent. Those stents plug up and there's no give. So you know what Western medicine has done now to solve that problem? They load up in the plastic material enough heavy petroleum products that it keeps the, it melts the plaque. This comes in a box. There's many different techniques. There's many types of flavors, but we take a few of these a day, 2, 3 of these a day to help. It still don't begin to get you the vitamin C you need, but it's enough to get you closer. But to reverse heart disease and plaque buildup, vitamin C is profound. The sad thing about when the stents with all the poison in them to melt the plaque, there's not the poison is killing the people and they suffer severely, almost similar to like mercury poisoning in symptoms. So for the heart, try to get up to 10,000 milligrams. You know if that's too much because when you hit what your body can handle, you'll get diarrhea. Terrible side effect. Get back down and you're okay. In my whole career as a DER, I've caught one terrible side effect on one person, and I remember the town, a little town called Pillager, Minnesota. The person was taking some of my herbs, and she didn't tell me she was taking some other herbs, and we crossed up with too much black walnut, and she got diarrhea overnight. Criminal, huh? And here I'm telling you how to get diarrhea. Go ramp up in vitamin C until you get to diarrhea and then back off. They try to do at least 5,000 milligrams a day. Your heart will do better. And it's tough, believe me, it's tough to go up with 5,000 milligrams a day of vitamin C. Unless you like taking big horse pills and get it all at once. Feel like this. Yeah. See, I got help. I'm gonna try to eat my nitrate. Horse pills. She must love me. I must love her because I take it without question. I don't have enough life insurance, so no, she's not trying to knock me off, so I trust this. Watch out for that. I've had it happen many times in my career where a spouse is waiting for life insurance and another cranky old cuss. Well, the youngest case was a 36-year-old. He was worth more dead than alive. It's so hard to spend energy on somebody. And I remember I got sued for helping a guy with ALS, Central Minnesota. The wife, I was extending his life, and she was already found a new boyfriend. And it was like, but I was learning. I learned off of him. ALS, being I mentioned that, is a side effect of using pesticides like in this case he used black flag, grade, defilon. What's the mosquito spray called right now? No. Anyway, it's up. Most mosquito spray has been outlawed in some big cities like Dallas and Washington, D.C. They've been too many lawsuits there papers for people to write their questions on. I'm hoping to stimulate some questions as I go through these chapters pretty fast, because then I know what you're really looking for, and we'll go back to, it'll probably end up in the book as part of the question and answer for each chapter. That would be my ideal thing. Okay, write the questions down as they come to you, and then we'll gather those up for lunch. Chapter number 4. Everybody ready for chapter number 4? I do some Paulisms once in a while. That's what they accuse me of doing. Changing words and changing phrases. And try to have some humor. We need a humor. Okay, next slogan. This one with the lady in the front in the van in the grocery store. Soy deceived. Let's start with soy. If you haven't learned about soy yet, you're at the cutting edge of it, because we've been hammering on this for about 4 or 5 years. But today, soy is not safe unless you're going to use it for furniture polish or something like that. In the Asian world, soy was not used unless it's for fermented, and otherwise it was used only for petroleum or like petroleum. It works so good in my diesel trucks, by the way. When the mileage goes up, the temperature drops. As soon as I switch over to soy oil from diesel, the truck runs much better. It smells like we're a train truck. Soy is one of the biggest contributors, I feel, to most of the estrogen dominance problems, which is cancer. Soy doesn't fit in the human, especially the GMO, God move over, genetically modified soy. Just take our word for it if you want, or do your own research if you got more time. Leave soy alone. Now, when you see lecithin, that is what they've used an additive that they make gasoline out of called hexane to make lecithin. So that's more dangerous than regular soy. Yet it's you go to any health food store, you'll find many of their products have lecithin or soy-based products inside their product. We've got too much cancer, we don't need to add to the trouble by doing soy. It sure upsets the hormones of females. And there's people using soy to supposedly fix that problem. They're on a crash course of disaster. Okay, soy seed, that's one of the deceptions. Another serious deception is salt. Serious, where we've gone haywire in this country. No salt, salts like Morton salt. And then you see this little picture of the girl in your mind dancing through the rain with an umbrella. This canvas is old to me, so maybe this is not going to speak to most of you, but why did they do this subliminal deal here? What does an umbrella have to do with salt anyway? What does rain have to do with salt? What were they trying to lead you to? Convenience. When it rains, it pours. That was their logo. To do what? To make you to give up your healthy salt. Healthy salt, which clumps up into big chunks and can't pour out of a salt shaker, so they could sell you the stuff for convenience. And I tease that convenience and cancer start with the same letter. Be careful when you compromise for convenience. So when it rains, it pours. Why does it pour? Okay, this is some of the poison salts you should avoid. I tip it over, it's falling up. Why didn't it ball up in there and you have to slam it against the counter? It's full of ground up aluminum. And anti-caking agent, which causes people when they take salt to swell because of the poison aluminum. The salt gets a bad rap, but it's also worthless because it's already bleached. Look, it's so white you can hardly see it. It's so small it pours through a hole. Anything that still has its life and enzymes still attached will cake up and get hard. You have to slap the bejeebers out or stab it with a fork. Well, nobody's got time to stab salt with a fork or slap the bejeebers out of it. Because if we go for convenience, we're going to die 40 years premature. We've got to hurry up. This life is going to get over quick because we're doing all this poison. We can't possibly take the time to slow it down and find salt that's wet and won't pour. And it's such a pain to put salt on in big chunks. So convenience, we'll do what? We kill ourselves. So what kind of salt do we use? Well, if you've got lots of money, I still suggest you buy whatever's available that's healthy. Now, we can buy this bag of salt for about $7. If I can get a 50-pound bag of this for about $6. This has more nutrition than this does. But this came from some other country. This came from America. So if I'm going to get healthier from America, $6 for 50 pounds or $7 for a pound, gotta pray about that. Which one should I do? Or would you just be cheap like me and go ahead and buy the best stuff for $6? You didn't know. This is animal salt, guys. And that right there should tell you that now you got something that you can take safely. There's no insurance on animals. You can't kill animals and still stay in business. Humans, big business to kill people. So this is salt. This comes from Kansas. I worked with Dr. Sodi Polaris for a very short period of time. Considered one of the top cardiologists in the world. He dropped out of the grace of Western medicine because he quit doing heart transplants. He and Christian Bernard in South Africa did the first heart plants. He shook his finger at me and he says, "You cut salt out of your life, you will have heart disease." He was incensed how stupid Americans are because they come down to see his clinic in Mexico City. And see, you tell Americans to cut out their salt, do they cut out their salt? No, they just go to the convenience, cheap, aluminum cruded bleached garbage. They swell up. And so they go to the doctor and say, "Well, you got to cut out your salt because you're swelling." No, you get to the right salt and let the body heal itself. He was shrinking triple-sized hearts to normal 2 weeks. And aneurysm the size of your fist, gone in 2 weeks. And he showed me x-ray after x-ray after x-ray. Down there, by the way, x-rays, you can read them. Up here, they're fuzzy, so nobody gets sued. If you want a crisp x-ray here, you have to go to a chiropractor. I just threw that in, that's not part of the chapter. Now, deceived about soy, deceived about salt, talk about cholesterol, what a myth. We're totally deceived about cholesterol. I can put it to you like this. The whole cholesterol issue is not because they care about your health. There's certain people who are concerned that there's too many people on the planet. It makes a very good birth control, a sinister, hidden birth control system called get your cholesterol lowered. Because your hormones will no longer be able to produce good sperm or good egg. And pretty soon if you get the cholesterol pushed low enough by the medical doctor, the male no longer even looks at the female looks at the female. So we get a bunch of homosexuals that are confused because they got their hormones messed up because they weren't doing enough salt, enough cholesterol, enough nutrition, but especially with cholesterol. If that generates questions, go ahead and write it down because I'm going to skip right over to sunscreen because we're coming up to summer in some parts of the world. If I was to draw a graph, in fact, I might just take one of these pages and do it. put it on this page, it's totally unrelated. If I was to make a graph of sunscreen, the usage of sunscreen, the amount used, okay, the red represents sunscreen, the blue how much cancer. And across the top, we just divide it up into the years. Starting like with the 1950s when they first came up with it. 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Okay, I could have said this in just a few words, but maybe the graph will help. According to how much sunscreen is used in America, is how much skin cancer we get. Parallel line. Did I do that okay? Get the picture? You use sunblocker, you get skin cancer. Duh. What's sunblocker made of? Petroleum. We're back to that. So the more petroleum we put on the skin to be cooked by the sun, the more skin cancer we get from the petroleum gases. Now, how do you get skin cancer if you don't have sunblocker? Because you're taking pesticides, herbicides, you're involved with antiperspirants, all kinds of skincare products made out of petroleum. You've got food preservatives made out of petroleum. Our whole life, including drinking out of water bottles, made of petroleum. Our body is full of petroleum, and when it comes to the surface in the form of sweat, especially when we get warm, that sweat's on the surface, it mixes with the sun rays, it gets cooked, the gas burns now the pigment and makes it so that the cells are abnormal. Well, anything with petroleum on the human is abnormal cells. Understand why you don't do sunblocker? Now the question is going to be, well, what do you do? Get your body so healthy nutritionally by eating green, fresh vegetables with enzymes that, like when we used to go out and bale hay all summer long, you couldn't complain about, oh, I got sunburn, I can't go out for 3 days. You're back at it the next day, right, Dave?
Yes, in fact, my question was, does eating fresh fruits and vegetables help prevent sunburn? So you covered that.
Oh, okay.
Very good, sir.
In fact, where I learned this the best was from a guy named Dr. Patrick Flanagan. He's got red hair, he's got freckles, he's Irish. What does that tell you? Stay out of the sun's going to get you. So he'd take his product that he invented called microhydrin, and he took a bunch of pills before 1 o'clock and went to the equator and hanged out in the sun at 1 o'clock. Has anybody been on a cruise or someplace where at 1 o'clock in the afternoon nobody's on the beach because they're getting burned and crisp? It's terrible. You get closer to the sun, like at the equator, we've got it made up here. We can work right through 1 o'clock. He went out and got burned on purpose as a red-haired, freckled-skinned Irishman, and took a lot of microhydrin, which is what you get when you get H- when you eat fresh vegetables and fresh fruits. And sure, he'd get burned, he'd get red, but he wouldn't peel. Because his skin was being replenished as fast as it was being damaged. There's the clue. Don't take in more petroleum, take in more nutrition. Make sense? Okay. I don't have a clock on me. 10:30. Just on these first chapters, I want to collect any questions we have. Logan, will you collect up the questions? If they have any. And then, if you need more, we're to chapter number, we're actually going to cover number 5. So I'm going to cover another petroleum product that's doing some really serious damage. Actually, it's a waste product. It's a waste product. And I guess I'll put your hand out on it. The one with the water, the big can of fluoride. I have enough time to cover this in the questions, and possibly one more chapter before lunch. What he's handing out is a cartoon. Not that it's a funny cartoon. But I'd be really remiss if I didn't cover fluoride, especially this close to the petroleum products. My grandma lived in a little town in Minnesota, and all of a sudden all the elderly people were becoming senile together. My dad was alerted to it because he, brilliant, bright mother, and all of a sudden we found her out on the major highway with the garden hose in the summertime trying to pull weeds out of the cracks. She's mostly blind. She would have a sweater on, the bra on the outside of the sweater. There were some clues that grandma was getting a little senile. Took her back to the farm, cleaned right up, got smart, sharp, because of well water. Come back to the fluoridated water in the city, she's senile again. Third time that happened, my mom had a stroke taking care of grandma, and found her in a nursing home. She died at 102. But she was still picking her own berries, as blind as she was, and weeds she could tell the field by 94 years old. When we cleaned out her house, there was a white film, thick, on everything in the house, because she's using humidifier, using that city water. And it was fluoride. I got a hold of the city employee that was putting the fluoride in the drinking water, and I said, how much fluoride are you giving your automatic feeder? Well, we're only doing 30 parts per million. I said, 30? That's right. I said, it's dangerous to do more than 1 part per million, and you're doing 30? He got mad at me and stomped off. He didn't live much longer, by the way. He never made it to 50. He didn't read the instructions, he didn't read the machine right. 30 parts per million, and most of the whole town elderly population died off within just a couple of years. Fluoride is a deadly, deadly, deadly waste product. It's so deadly that if you were to stockpile it and it was to break open, it would sterilize the soil for that area for years. Well, they don't even know how many thousands of years of half-life it is. Fluoride is dangerous. It's used to make people docile. It was used in World War II by the man who thought he was in charge. He turned out he wasn't, but he gets all the blame, credit, and praise, called Hitler. He used fluoride to get people docile. You put it in the drinking water. Now today, if you want to have solid fluoride, I can tell you where to get a pill that's 98% of the total pill. The rest would be binders and fillers. 98% of Prozac is fluoride. Is anyone who puts that grain out to lunch so they can handle life and never be just, no ups, no downs, just wait for the grade. Fluoride is dangerous, but it really does havoc on the thyroid. So if we're gonna have a chapter on thyroid, it'd have to be in there. I have some serious concern for you in this vicinity. I've been doing blood work since 1996. I have never seen so much thyroid stress anywhere on anybody as we got right here in this community. Usually I get 1 or 2 thyroid stresses a year. Of the last almost 30 people we've done, we've had maybe between 80 and 90% have thyroid stress. So we got maybe 4 or 5 that didn't have thyroid stress. We should probably get better accurate numbers on it. And severe thyroid stress. This is not something that's going to go away. This is what's a precursor to thyroid cancer. So something has gone haywire with this part of the planet. We suspect it's a combination, but we think that the Fukushima has drifted here from that explosion, the nuclear explosion. This is serious stuff. By the time you hear about it in your normal news, a bunch of you will be dead already, all right? I'm trying to get the point across. This is not to be played with. This is serious business. Something is wrong with where you guys live. Now, we've gotten some from New Hampshire, Connecticut, one from Minneapolis, but nothing like almost everybody that sets out on a microscope has thyroid stress, and severe. So maybe you're getting fluoride in your water. Maybe you're doing microwaves. Maybe you're getting mammograms. Maybe it has something to do with the paint factory or some different things that's going on here. But you guys have problems that I don't know how to solve it, except make sure that you're not doing any poison salt, because what happens with, if I could explain radiation just a little bit, it's worse than just petroleum. Radiation goes into your body and fills a void that was supposed to have been filled with iodine. So if you're doing the sick, convenient salt that you pour out of a salt shaker, you have an iodine deficiency. Oh, I know you can buy some white salt now that has iodine added. Oh, wow. Why don't you just do the healthy stuff that has plenty of it right there? So part of your defense to combat this thyroid stress would be to make certain you're putting in some form of iodine. And I know you can supplement with iodine, and you can do Lugol's or some different companies. But the stress that I'm seeing is not going to clean up with just a little bit of nutritional change. You're already damaged by some form of radiation. That has been cleaning up with a thyroid machine. Logan, would you show them how to put the thyroid machine on? Come up and put the one on that's up here. This little article, I'll leave it out. It shows about how the enzymes are damaged. The enzymes just from fluoride. It's got a dot on it. The dot goes towards you. It can go over your kidneys or wherever. But we put it on the thyroid. And this looks a little crude. Let's get the price down. It doesn't have to be right that high. And then we plug it in. There's one for your car or one for your house. When you get it, you get both. I recommend you plug it in to the car, because those people remember the best. The problem with that machine is not that it doesn't work. It doesn't work if you don't put it on you. When we forget, we get busy. So if you're sitting at a stoplight, oh, there's that machine, you'll put it on. If you try to get 10 minutes. I've had already one from Sioux Falls from the February seminar already cleaned up with this machine. Don't get rid of the machine, whatever you do, because it's only begun. If we have a nuclear explosion on the fault line, you know how many dangerous, outdated, old power plants that are nuclear that we have in America, it's sick. And they follow the Missouri River, they go down all the way on the fault line, most of them, to almost to Florida, some in Florida also. South Dakota has no nuclear reactor. Did you know that? I would have moved here sooner if I had known. I'm just saying, we're at least far enough the initial blast, we have to suffer some other way. We'll get knocked out by initial blast. But the problem is already here. It's not gonna go away. Now this machine, this machine, I can thank a doctor out of Canada who showed me how to get it built, and I have a guy that manufactures those. I've had where 10 minutes was enough to get rid of the cold hands and cold feet on the initial setting. See, the thyroid, when it starts to go off, your thermometer doesn't work. You can get hot, you can get cold, you can back and forth. But most often, you'll be cold with an air vest and so uncomfortable. Had a lady in Canada, or one 10-minute session, already this is probably 10 years ago at least. She told her husband to turn the heater down. And in their married life, it was February, in their married life, that's the first time he'd ever heard those words come from his wife. She was always cold. The thyroid is a master computer, master tuner. Everybody just stand up for a bit, unless you're sleeping. Okay, let your arms hang down for you. Some of you already know what I'm looking for. We'll keep these things. And okay. What you're looking for is how much stress is on the thyroid. Let me sit down. I felt good even struggles here. Tired. A stressed thyroid, we dog family. Tim, you know, I don't know what you're doing, but we need to be more like Tim. He's more parallel. His hands are parallel, not dog paddle. Parallel. Dog paddler, stress thyroid, parallel. Healthy. We're keeping. See that? It's more parallel. That's not absolute. Some people have had injuries. Some people are, you'll notice that at nighttime, even yourself, Tim, at nighttime when you're tired, your thyroid's usually a little stressed and they'll start to turn on you. Morning, you jump up, you'll be at it again. So we need to tune the thyroid. The tuner is like taking a guitar and tuning the string with a pitch pipe or some people are so good at it, they just know. When the body's in tune, it runs on a 7.83 Schumann resonance. Gets up. Dr. Schumann, the German doctor, discovered this years ago. So all that is putting out is frequency as if your thyroid was tuned. Giving it time to get a break. When would your thyroid ever have a break otherwise? How could it? We've got cell phones, we've got microwave, we've got these fluorescent lights, we've got all these electrical interferences, then we've got fluoride interferences and petroleum interferences. The stress of the thyroid is it never gets a break. I had a lady years ago who had her thyroid toasted with a radiation pill. She paid $800 so she could have been near any pregnant women for some time. $800 to wreck your thyroid? That was years ago. And I got her one of these tuners. She calls up, she says, boy, my thyroid hurts. Now, I can't explain what thyroid hurt would be. Because my thyroid had never hurt. I didn't even know if I could tell you it has pain. She says it hurts. And so I thought, how could it hurt? Growing pains. Yeah, remember when you were a kid, I told her, remember when you were a kid and you had growing pains? So tough, but she's like in her 70s. I said, use it for 5 minutes instead of 10 minutes. She pushed out through. Pretty soon she found out she didn't need her Synthroid anymore. Heaven forbid, I'm a criminal. I took something to help somebody off their drugs. Well, Synthroid is not that expensive, and it's also, I don't think it was going to get upset that I helped her get off Synthroid. But she took herself off, which is a good sign. We've had people use it for kidney pain, different organ, livers. You can put it over the liver wherever. It's 7.83 Schumann resonance. Now, if you come to our clinic, we've got one machine that's about $600. We can put you on to do that. And we have another machine that's $4,300 that you can lay on to put your body in balance. I suggest you start with a simple machine that's $155 and do it. Nothing to wear out. I know it's in there. I'd like to make it look a little more like an iPod. So it would look like cool to have it. Instead of like a big box, like boy, they're strange. Okay. Any questions on the thyroid? We could cover that more at another time. The name of the good salt. I found out yesterday there's more than one company. Don't tell these people when you buy bags and bags of it that it's for humans. They don't want to have to comply. If I was them, I wouldn't want to comply with food and drug. Think of Independence Day. Independent Salt Company. Canopolis, Kansas. Is that where you guys went? Yeah. We went to take a tour of it, and the elevator was shut down that day. Clue is there's no runoff water, so there's no fresh pollution from all the petroleum we've invented. Anybody ever own a payloader, a backhoe, a dump truck? Did you know what they do? Just, they can't help themselves. They drip oil everywhere. If you're strip mining salt, how much petroleum are you getting in your salt?
Is there a zip code with that too?
67545. And everybody we've helped get to that, whether they're the farmer, for the animals, or the people, it's salty. Today we'll have somebody just take a sample of it, or maybe hand out some. Good. They're growing organic pigs, so that when you go to Chipotle, you get something that doesn't hurt you. So I don't know about Chipotle, made a deal with them yet, but I hope you get big enough that you help them. Non-GMO. Non-GMO, he's a hog farmer. Do you know what GMO stands for? God move out. Who needs them in this country? We got scientists. God move out. GMO. Whole bunch of them down in Iowa. Okay. Best way to get rid of ringworm that I know is high doses of microhydrin. So in the fungus family, and any fungus, if you want to knock them to you alkalize the body. One capsule of microhydrin has a H- healing potential of 10,000 glasses of fresh squeezed organic orange juice. It changes the pH overnight in your body. We love this stuff.
You specify,
Plus
quantity?
quantity. I'm just going to give you a couple of examples. People went hilarious. A bottle like this big is $125. So people tend to cut back and chase on it. It's better if you just hit it and then back off. We had a lady that went through a whole bottle in about 2 weeks, and she had about 12 warts fall off her hand. That was warts. Ringworm, I do three capsules every 4 hours until the bottle's gone. And you have some other side benefits. You may have to figure out a way to ever see these kids, you see, hear these older people say, well, I wish they'd follow that energy so I could have some of it. They have a bottle of it. Like I'm gonna tell you about this. I asked the inventor himself, because he wouldn't tell in the public meeting. I said, what did you make that stuff out of? He said, don't you tell anybody, because you know how much. He didn't make it cross my heart before I did $500. I think, he said, you can't share with the public. So they know anyway, because somebody else is making it now. This is encapsulated energy of the sun. And how do you encapsulate energy into anything that's healthy, nutritional? You have to use crystals. You capture the electricity of the sun, the energy of the sun in crystals, which is called silica, or sand. But in sand that's dirt that's come up through a plant,